this is our first look at the Parkside pliers slash adjustable wrench. These are sold separately, but they're all basically the same price. They are $2.99 each. First of all, we have the good old tongue and groove joints, channel lock, or water pump pliers, whatever you want to call them. Channel lock, of course, being a brand, but I will call them groove joint pliers because that is what I was first taught they were called. These, honestly, I used to have a work zone set in the US. This is way better. I used to also have channel lock and USA made Craftsman, a set of button compressed Irwins, and maybe a set of Cobalts that came in a toolkit, but I'm not 100% sure about the Cobalts. These would kind of be middle of the pack in comparison, which is a lot better than those old work zones were. But yeah, these are actually pretty good. I've not really used them on anything yet, but just by feel and the lack of wiggle, I expect these to perform really well. These side cutters, the larger wire cutters, I don't expect these to perform well. I actually have two pairs of these. This is the newer pair. I can tell because of the M. I guess they changed manufacturers because the this one seems a little bit better. The grind on the tip of these isn't the best. It's better than the other one, but it's not the best. Okay, they cut it. It's not the best cutting experience. I'd rather have a Knipex or like a Doyle, which is a Harbor Freight brand, or my old Craftsman's that I used to have. But it works. It can do it. It's not particularly great. Test it real quick on this cable tie. Pretty good on the cable tie. I guess $2.99 for a pair of those is a little bit too cheap. Then we also have the needle nose. Compare those to the electrician's ones. That's why I got them. They're not too bad. I think this handle's a little bit too short. The needle nose themselves are a decent size. Again, you have the finer teeth and a little bit thicker teeth there, and then the cutter. Let's check that cutter out. Cutter's okay. Test it on. Oh, still stuck in there. Test it on that. Cuts that fine. Honestly, better than those side cutters did. Those side cutters are just garbage. I'd really recommend avoiding them. But this isn't too bad. It's got a little bit of space at the tip, but it's close enough. I used to be really picky about that, but the thing is how thin of an object are you really going to grab with something like this? Like the only time you would need to grab something where it closes 100% of the way is if you're like pulling out a splinter, and then you should really be using tweezers anyway. But it grabs that fine. I'm sure it'll grab this fine. I don't have as much torque to pull it, but it grabs it perfectly fine. And how often are you going to be grabbing something thinner than what they use to tie bread with? You know what I mean? It's not very common. So I expect These are going to be pretty decent, but I expect the more expensive pair to come out as a higher recommend than these. But we'll see as we go along. Then we have the linemans, or what I would call linemans. They're just basic wide nose pliers with teeth in the middle and teeth at the front and cutters. A little bit too short to be used as proper linemans, but even their electric ones, they're about the same size. So I was like, well, why would I get that? To be fair, I do like this this handle better than this one. The rubber is just so nice, whereas this is just hard plastic. And even the wings are more acceptable on this one, even though they're bigger on this one. I still need to get a proper set of linemans, but these will do for now. They close up pretty well. Um, Again, gets good grip. Cuts okay. Uh Maybe about as well as the side cutters. Yeah, that's kind of rough. So it doesn't cut the cable tie as well as the side cutter. But it's okay. For $2.99, so £3, I would say this is a pretty worth it. Not too much of a risk in buying. Yeah, there are better options out there. Um, but if you get like a bigger plier, if you want bigger pliers, I would buy them elsewhere, because I don't really see pliers bigger than this in Little, and I've been paying close attention to them since I. All right, the last one is the adjustable wrench or spanner, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it a wrench because that's what I was first told they were called. Uh, Honestly, pretty good. I do not like this handle. It is comfortable, but it's ridged, and I just don't like it. I just don't like. I'd rather have it flat or a little bit chunkier and not have that. Like either or. Don't the ridges, like, yeah, they kind of fit well if you hold it a certain way, but the way I normally hold it, which would be about like that, which to be fair is a little tight, but it's not great. This head though is actually one of the best I've ever seen. Sad to say that this 3 pound, I believe 3 pound tool is one of the best I've ever seen. Um, it feels exactly like it feels kind of like the Pump Cobalt's adjustable pliers. Not many people will know what I'm talking about because they were only out in the market for 2 years. Well, I think 2 years, but they weren't in the market for very long, and they sucked. But the shifter feels a little bit um feels nearly as good as the regular Cobalt, which the regular Cobalt, in regards to actually moving the adjustable parts, is like the best in the American market in my opinion, but it's not as loose as the Cobalt. Yeah, it's got a lot of play, but the Cobalt had way more play, and it actually is super wide. So this opens up. I'm opening it up. I'm just looking to see. So it's got a 20 mark up here, and it opens up probably at about the 30 millimeter mark. And so that for an adjustable wrench this size, that is pretty large. That is insanely good. And this side of the head, like these heads remind me, the only difference being the wiggle. This head reminds me of the American-made Craftsman. You may not believe me, and that's fair. And to be fair, these aren't as good as the American-made Craftsman. They're not, but it is shockingly close to the old American-made Craftsman. It closes faster than the American-made Craftsman because that was the worst part of the American-made Craftsman. And the only thing that this adjustable wrench needs is for the little screw here to fit the pin that's underneath it a little bit better, and that would get rid of a lot of that play. Um, but it might slow down the speed of opening and closing. But I'd rather have it a little bit slower and have this a little bit more secure, because the difference between it from it being here to it being open, like, it doesn't look like a lot, but that's a millimeter, and that millimeter and makes a huge difference. But honestly, this this I recommend it. If they have that in stock in little, buy it. Um, and this is before a proper review. I know that this is gonna perform pretty well.